It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The AP Top 25 is out in both men's and women's basketball. Tennessee's men's move up to number 13 in the country after defeating Auburn 67-62 at home on Saturday to remain undefeated in Thompson Bowling Arena. The Lady Vols came up short yesterday after making a late run, but falling to number 8 LSU 57-54 at home to close out the regular season. And Tennessee has dropped 2 spots to number 18 in the country. Up next for the ladies is the SEC tournament in Bridgestone Arena. That tips off this coming Wednesday. The Mlb Lockout continues as the MLB and MLBPA reportedly remain far from reaching a new collective bargaining agreement. If a new CBA is not agreed upon today, opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. Also in baseball news, Derek Jeter has stepped down as the CEO of the Miami Marlins. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you, man. A beautiful day outside, a beautiful day in the studio here. We got the blinds open, letting the sunshine in, and my gosh, what an epic sports weekend around these parts, including...
What, something happened? Something was going on in Nashville?
Lucas Panzica and 68,000 of his best friends showed up for a hockey game at Nissan Stadium. The only thing wrong with this weekend was that they couldn't find a way to win that game. Most fights in the league, most penalty minutes in the league, and that bit them in the fanny again. But as far as what the city and the Titans and the stadium and the Preds and everybody else pulled off, and Miranda Lambert and Dierks Bentley and everybody under the sun, man, what a fantastic spectacle. And I mean, you were there to take it all in person, Lucas.
They just kept rolling out country singers. I don't know how many actually performed. It must have been like 8 or 9. But every time, even during a TV timeout, and here's, the band Bear. And it was like, all right, okay. It was they did a good job. It was a good event across the board. Everything went well. It was a really good crowd. The weather was perfect for an outdoor hockey game. So, yeah, hats off. They didn't get the win, but it was overall a good weekend for them.
Are you mad that they put them against Tampa Bay?
No, I like that it's a marquee team. I like that it's the defending Stanley Cup champs, one of the most talented teams. And we got a hell of a highlight on Braden Point's game-tying goal that he smacked out of the air with a stick that made, I don't know what point of SportsCenter's top 10, but they didn't get the win. I'd rather than play one of the league's better teams than it be, the Arizona Coyotes or something, who are just dreadful right now.
Oh, well, I didn't. Well, you go to one extreme to the other. I mean,
yeah,
how about another middle-leveling team that you got a shot? Because I feel like it was anticlimactic all the whole weekend, especially with the Pecorino on Thursday. I mean, and then down to the weekend, it felt like, oh man, they're playing Tampa Bay. The likelihood of them beating them was going to be really small. I mean, I wanted to believe that they could get them, but I knew they wouldn't. I mean, especially, I saw the fighting and everything else involved, let alone the catfish tackle.
It had it all.
Man, I mean, entertainment. It was definitely a great event for sure. Man, that might be the last time Lucas might have been part of history. Maybe the last time that event is there in Nissan Stadium, because it may be a new stadium. How about that?
Okay. Now, I was thinking about that because people were lamenting that on social media, like Saturday night and Sunday. Well, that's it. They're going to build the stadium. Can I ask you guys this?
You can't ask me.
Could you not take the game and move it to the soccer stadium? As Ron Slay approved, it ain't got no roof.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I know the soccer stadium, they want to be able to use it for other things. They can't really use it for football because the way that the new soccer stadium is built, it's a very intimate atmosphere. The sidelines are not nearly as big. There would be no way for the Titans to go play a game in that stadium. But
so those intimate sidelines would make for a pretty nice NHL sidelines, though.
I agree. I think they would want to keep it in a football stadium for more seats because you got 68,000 people in that building. Whereas the soccer stadium will be capped at about 30. But there's no question it would be an absolutely rocking environment for an outdoor hockey game.
I'm just saying, you still have an opportunity over there. Well, there's still a building with no roof in it and a bunch of seats outdoors in the field
this
to put
true.
So there's that. The other thing is.
But that still would make Nissan Stadium the last time they said that.
Oh, no, it would absolutely do that. One and only. Yeah. I mean, It looked amazing on TV. I had kids stuff and just too many things to free myself from. So we watched just about all of it on TV as a family. It looked fantastic. I know Lucas was there and Buck was there, and saw a bunch of other tweets and things from people from the Zone and friends of mine who were there. And it kind of took me back to what it always takes me back to. So NASCAR's here again. Soccer is here and thriving. And my gosh, they had a huge win on the road to start the season last night. And the Titans, the building feels like it used to feel. And, the Preds are finding their way with this new lineup, but then they throw an outdoor party, and it's crazy. I wanted to come on today, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Major League Baseball got their stuff straightened out and we could talk about that's the next thing in line here, baseball. But they can't even get out of their own way. So Jeff Passan's down there tweeting doomsday scenarios out of Florida. And I'll say this. If I was anything sports-related, though, I would want to be here. If I was motorcycle Grand Prix, if I was anything in the world, I would want to be here just because.
But that's what's becoming. I mean, that's already happened.
It's already happened.
Yeah, so those things are going to happen. It's just now they're going to continue to happen is how often will we get events. We must, as a city and a state, get used to we are now the it city and expect those things. Can't be, we happy we got. No, we've had a lot of things, and we're going to continually get more as people continue to move here. Economy grows, all these high-rise buildings and houses and apartments and everything else being built and people moving here. That's just what's going to happen. It's coming, whether you like it or not. Whether you remember how it used to be and complaining about the traffic. Guess what? I'm complaining about the traffic and the potholes too. Really, the potholes. You can get used to the traffic, but so that's what happens, and that's what comes with it when the city grows and becomes that it city. So you're going to be up for a lot more events, and it's continuing to grow. So things are going to continue to evolve and grow and change. I remember people said we'll never get a new stadium. I said, oh yeah, we will in the next 25 years.
Yeah,
and that's going to happen. There's no way around it.
It has to happen now.
Yeah.
Because, again, you saw what Nashville could do when given an opportunity to throw a party. Imagine what that would look like for Super Bowl, Final Four, college football championship, SEC championship football game.
Yeah, I'd sit in the top of the top seat to be there, too. Mm-hmm.
Radio Row over at the Music City Center.
It's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to happen. And all I kept thinking about Saturday night was more proof. Now, you could always stick a retractable roof stadium over there, and you could just open that sucker up and let the elements happen and have your sheet of ice right down there under the roof that opens up. Retractable roof seems like the way to go.
So that'd be the key. What next event do you think the city will get or wants to get? Or who do you want to get? Maybe that's a poll question. Yeah. What next major event that they haven't had? Not the, we've already had a lot of them, and they will be coming back, like the draft and things of that nature. But, man, what's next on the docket, you think?
I think you hit the nail on the head with everything is here. So the next thing is it Major League Baseball? Is it?
No, not
build
a franchise.
Building. Right.
I'm talking about
build the building, and then you get Final Four.
Right. I'm talking about
football
which
playoff.
one of those do you want? Which one of those? Not a league. I'm talking about what event.
Yeah.
That you haven't had quite yet.
I just wonder if it's going to take building the building to get anything else, because they've had the draft for both hockey and football, and both of those are incredible. They've had the All-Star game for.
The NHL All-Star game was here in what?
Yeah. I interrupted myself because I thought, could you slap the NBA All-Star game over there in the arena? I mean, Memphis would lose its absolute mind.
Do you have to have an NBA franchise actually in the city area to get that event? I don't know. Those are questions I don't know. I know we have Memphis, but that's not actually in Nashville. It's in the state, of course.
They would lose their mind if Nashville got the All-Star game.
They would be perturbed.
I got a lot of friends and family in Memphis. I lived in Memphis. They would lose their minds. Yeah. But that is a thing that is, I would think it was gettable. I mean, the way downtown is structured, I was standing at the draft, and we all got to go down there, and you've got Broadway that runs all the way to First Avenue, and it has a little bit of downhill to it. Mm-hmm. It's basically like downtown is an amphitheater in itself. To put a stage down there and then just play right up Broadway, it's just an unbelievably amazing place to hold anything. It really is. And the people who come to the Kentucky Invitational every year, the SEC basketball tournament, they're always like, I just get a hotel room downtown and park my car, and I don't see it for 4 or 5 days. Because you don't have to. I mean, if you want to go see the Hermitage or, go to Merides or in Franklin or walk around the square down there, you can do it. But if you just want to party for however many days, you just park your car and go at it.
How many Kentucky fans are going to be walking around confused on Broadway next weekend with the SEC tournament not being here? To see a bunch of waves of blue walking in and out of Broadway bars, looking around.
Man. They are going to be wherever that tournament is. They are the most unbelievable, and I mean, this wasn't on script, talking about Kentucky basketball. It's amazing how they show. They come to the first night when they don't play.
Yeah, they'll be in Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, they show up wherever it is, and they just do their thing.
Well, they need to be worried about Tennessee's basketball after
they
that
do.
huge win over Auburn. And yes, I finally beat Lucas. I meant to. I wanted to tweet you because I haven't beat him in anything in any of our call your shot. So now I'm 1 for 100.
Yeah,
Lucas. I finally got Lucas.
Lucas got on Twitter this weekend by some people who keep scoring such things.
I think Slay is going to come in here with the T-shirt gun he was shooting before the game in Thompson Bowling Arena and blast me with it for picking Auburn on Saturday.
Oh, well, I can see why, because he had owned them and everything else as I talked about. But I told at home they are a different team. You got to see a little bit of the holes in Auburn's game. I mean, they need some better guard play. They definitely. I mean, the Smith kid, Jabari Smith, he should probably win the Player of the Year. Maybe I don't know. He's got to be up for it though.
He's
that's
probably
for sure.
the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah,
he's excellent.
Yeah, so but man, that was a heck of a run. They went on a nice little run, man, and their guard play really kind of held the fort there. Got a lot of contributors throughout the whole game, but the atmosphere once again with Slay and Ramon, yours truly from 104.5 The Zone, getting it all hype. But I don't even know if they really need a lot of hype, man. That crowd. Did you watch the game, Lucas, and see how loud they were?
Yeah,
they were doing the wave, and I mean, they was. Oh man, that's a heck of an atmosphere. Are they undefeated at home, right?
Undefeated at home. Really, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Auburn this year, you combine those three, their home records, you get one loss. One home loss between those three. Vanderbilt is the only home loss at Arkansas for the Razorbacks this year. Otherwise, those teams have just been
undefeated
phenomenal in their home arenas.
Man, it's an exciting time for Tennessee sports in general. Yeah, just all over the place.
Whenever you see the camera shake on a big moment, that's how you know it's a good environment, right? On the follow-up dunk by Brandon and then the brief shake of the game cam, that's how you know that place is rocking.
Man, you just got to make sure we get Kenny Chandler to be a better free throw shooter. I'm thoroughly disappointed, man. I don't know if they had him change his shot because he acts like he's shooting the ball better from distance, from three. So he looks a lot more confident. Naturally, he has the quickness and the jets and the length and everything else, play D and penetrate and everything else. But just trying to get his all-around game together, man. Most point guards, I can't even tell you, most of them are great free throw, at least 80% shooters. So he's got to get that up because that could be a difference in games. And I'm just using him because he's, the star player. But, overall, they just got to be a better free throw shooting team because if they didn't get hot there at the end, I mean, those missed free throws might have cost them a game in a neutral site versus a really good opponent. So, yeah, that's probably the only thing I saw. And then as long as they're hitting from the perimeter, they're going to be in every game and got a shot of winning all. I don't care who they're playing, obviously. But let's say if they're not at home and they're playing the Arizonas and the Kentuckys and everybody, I think they can beat anybody. So that's going to be interesting to see if they can be consistent throughout the tournament. And starting with the SEC tournament after they have Georgia on Wednesday. Who else?
Yeah, Georgia on Tuesday.
And
Arkansas. Wrap it up with Arkansas.
Yeah, so you got to get that. That's a revenge because they lost to them, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be big, and then, man, it'd be nice to get that double bye. They got a shot at getting double bye, right? I think they should.
Yeah, they should. They feel very good about the opportunity to get a double bye. Really, what's interesting is the SEC regular season title race. If Auburn slips up at Mississippi State on Tuesday. Tennessee wins out, and they get a share of that title.
Nice.
Got to be playing your best ball at the right time. And it is February 28th, so we got March tomorrow, right? It's not a leap year, is it?
Nope, March starts tomorrow.
Okay, so you got to be playing your best ball in March.
March 1st.
We got to take a break. All right, here's what we'll do when we come back. We got Ding Dong of the Week. Buffalo wants to weigh in. Chris wants to weigh in. If you want to weigh in, Blaine's got a great question. What do you want next for Nashville? Like, what do you want next? You want the Super Bowl? You want the Final Four? What do you want next? Because I'll tell you, the eyes of the sports world were once again on Nashville, and they checked every box. Everybody is going to want everything here. What do you want here? 615-737-1045. Blaine and McKee, 104.5 The Zone. You hear that music, it only means one thing, Ding Dong of the Week. It is time for that. We will get to Ding Dong of the Week here in just a second, but I know Buffalo and Lebanon was holding through the break, and we got a little side topic today. What do you want next for Nashville? Some of you may say, I don't want anything. I want to keep the Titan Stadium the way it is, and that way we can have another outdoor game over in that same stadium, and yeah, that's what I want. And some of you may want everything, but we're curious to hear from you today. Blaine Bishop said it, though, well. Everything's coming. The city, if there's anything that's not here, it's all coming.
It's happening.
Because the city showed out again. It is the it city. Just know that everything's coming. So just pick the thing that you want next. The thing I want next is to hear from Buffalo and Lebanon. Buffalo, how you doing, man? Thanks for checking in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline.
What's a shame is that the houses in these subdivisions where I worked 5 years ago were $275,000. Now they're $500,000.
Yep.
They're $500,000, just 5 years later. But I'd like to see the Packers and the Titans in a Super Bowl. That could have happened this year. They were both right there. And then that'd be, year 2027 maybe. And then I had a question. When these players, one of the Packers linemen, he gave up 2 years of his contract to help the salary cap in a void. I don't understand what that means. And I'll hang up and maybe you can explain it. Thank you.
Buffalo, thank you for the call. Basically, that means they put extra years on the end of your contract that you're never going to play. If you look at a site like Spotrac, like the ink even on those years is a different color than the colored font, sorry, is different color than the actual years that guy's under contract to play. And all it is a way to drag out the signing bonus and the dead cap money. That's all it is. So it's literally just a math problem and a way to beat the system.
Right.
So like if we were like, Lucas, we're signing you to a 3-year contract to be the producer of this show with a couple avoidable years at the end. It's a 5-year contract, but only 3 of those years are real. The other 2 are just dummy years, and we're giving you a $10 million signing bonus. So 2 will go on the second to last year, and then 2 more on the last year. All you're doing is spreading out cap hits.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I thought that was the case. Eric in Nashville, he always leads off with the ding dong with us. Eric, how you doing, man? Thanks for checking in.
Hey guys, I've got 3 ding dongs.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Let's hear them.
Okay. Ding dong number 1 has to go to Hugh Jackson for hiring Art Browse as his staff on Grambling University. That is so disgusting. The fact that you tarnish the legacy of the great Eddie Robinson. I'm telling you, he's probably rolling over in his grave, and you drive off probably the most famous person that's affiliated with that university in Doug Williams.
Yeah.
And this was also a guy that was you recently interviewing, talking about Hugh Jackson, about the whole Brian Flores situation going on in NFL. The fact you are outbrowed, I mean, come on, man. It's just so disgusting that you do that. Guys, ding dong number 2, you may or may not have heard about this. So, guys, it goes to the people who print the Tennessean. Guys, yesterday I tried to get me a paper. I got me a paper, but apparently there were several sections missing from the paper. I went to another business trying to get the paper. Apparently it was all over town. They left out several sections of the Tennessean yesterday, and that's ridiculous, guys, because you're paying more money for the Sunday paper than you do the Monday through the Saturday paper, and the Sunday paper should not be as thick as the Monday through Saturday paper. That's ridiculous, guys. And, guys, my last ding-dong has got to go to 2 branches of the United States government, the United States Post Office and the IRS. Guys, here's the deal. Last year when I was filing my taxes, guys, a friend of mine helped me do it. I went online with H&R Block. I was working in 2020 up until around about Good Friday. I got let go because of the pandemic. I was furloughed, and then I was let go from my job. I was collecting unemployment insurance for a while until about the fall. So they told me I owed $166. I wrote out the check and mailed it. In fact, the guy who was helping my taxes mailed it for me. Well, last week I get a letter from the IRS saying that they never received it. Guys, it's just so frustrating, guys, because I still have not received my stimulus check. I also found out I was supposed to be getting back a tax return of $1,800. So that's $3,000 I was supposed to get back. I don't know if they're holding my money or whatever. If it didn't receive that, why don't you just take $166 or whatever I owe out of either the stimulus check or the tax refund? That's ridiculous. I want my money, guys. I've not been able to get in touch with anybody from the IRS. I've had issue with the post office before, either getting mail delayed or either them not getting my payments in a timely fashion. And the thing is that with the pandemic going on, you think they make allowances, and plus people, not enough employees for jobs, but they still say, well, if we don't get our money and stuff on time, we're going to still charge you interest. And then I get people saying, well, you ought to go online and pay your bills. Guys, I don't want to do that, because guess what? If I don't have enough money in my checking account to cover my bills and everything, because I never know when they take it out, I'm get socked with a $35, $40 fee from the bank saying that you're overdrawn. And, of course, they won't tell me until after the fact. And I also get maintenance fees. It just feels like no matter which way I go, I'm screwed, guys.
Eric, hang in there, man. Wow.
That was just had to get it off his chest.
That was the longest ding-dong we've ever had in this segment.
That's exactly what she said.
That was Eric. Hang in there, man. That is goodness gracious,
man. I don't even know how to.
It's a lot to sort through.
Follow up with that.
He didn't mention, Rob Manfred or Kyler Murray's agent, which is the way I'm leaning on this thing. I mean, there's a lot of ding. Every Monday we come on. It's like we're going to do ding dong of the week on Monday.
People get ready, man.
And there are sometimes I think, boy, it's been a pretty quiet week, but something happens by 1 o'clock on Monday. Just the world of ding dongs has just grown and expanded like nothing. Each week, ding dongs just
grown
just
and
come
expanded.
out. Ding dongs just come out of the air each week.
Oh, man.
Eric usually takes all of ours right off the bat.
Yes, he whatever we had normally. If he has three, it's the one each one of us.
I have one though. It's nowhere near as good as Derek's growing ding dongs there. But UConn's coach Dan Hurley in basketball got ejected in a technical foul for hyping up the crowd with his arms.
I mean,
literally, I was like, "What?
I saw that.
Are you kidding me?" So I was like, man, is the ref just upset at him because he's making their job harder? So I was like, come on, man. Y'all got to be a little better than this. And then my other one was in Pennsylvania in a wrestling contest there in high school where he gave someone a pin that you pinned him, and he was actually not on his back. He was on his stomach. So he saw right in front of his eyes a kid on his belly. The other kid was on top of him, and he said that he was pinned. I mean, the fans and the parents and the coaches are all going crazy, talking about, what are you talking about? He was on his stomach. What do you mean? Oh, well, what? And somebody is videoing it the whole time, and I'm sure they had to go, hey, man, can I see your camera? Because I thought he was on his back, and he was on his stomach. I mean, that was ridiculous.
I mean, I know we live in a distracted society, but you had one job, man. I mean, you were literally the official of this match.
Believe it.
You're the only person who has to watch it.
Oh, man, I don't know, man. He was laying on his belly, and maybe he felt like he needed to give a ding-dong appearance on the Blaine and Mickey show so people could know who he was.
Let's get Bill in Lebanon has a ding-dong. By the way, ding-dong of the week brought to you by our friend Mark Spain. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing, or as we like to say, don't be a ding-dong. Use Mark Spain. What's going on, Bill? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
What you got for us, man?
Thanks for calling in.
Well, you probably can't lay it all on LeBron, but I guess Rob Pelinka, ding dong, getting rid of Kuzma, getting rid of Caruso, and they got this garbage fire out in L.A. It's called the Lakers, and they just absolutely laid down like a bunch of dogs last night.
The
and
Pelicans,
that whole team is a ding-dong versus the New Orleans Pelicans. The mighty Pelicans beat them by 30, and it wasn't even that close.
Are you a Lakers fan?
Oh, he dropped. He dropped his own hammer.
I was going to ask him right now. I don't know when. I think they can still trade people at this time. They have so many other rules there in the NBA, but I would actually trade LeBron James. He's the best piece to the puzzle that has a lot of, you'll get some assets out of him. So I probably would trade him. I know that sounds crazy. That's what I would do if I'm them. Especially with all this talk about, he wants to go play with someone. Well, guess what? He don't have to be in the NBA yet. We'll let you go now. So we're not winning. I mean, they may get to play in a play-in game, but I don't even know. They actually threw in the towel versus the Pelicans. I mean, it was horrible. I was like, this team's not good. It's fractured somewhere along the way, so it's time to make some changes. Yep, he's right.
And the NBA, I mean, they're still in prime time every night. The Lakers are never not on your TV. They're never not on your TV. And it's just a slow motion train wreck night after night after night.
Yeah, the Lakers are kind of like in the NFL, like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Like they're always on. You're just like, oh man, the Lakers again. Oh, okay.
And I'm sure they're big box office. But it is funny. The old Lakers bandwagon does seem to have dropped a couple of folks lately. They had to find somebody else, some other winning team to root for.
The Grizzlies.
Yeah, the local fans.
There's a Grizz bandwagon.
Just
now.
focus on the Grizz. I didn't see.
Nice young team too, man. I like them.
Nick says no one feels bad for the Lakers. I don't feel bad for them. Tomahawk Chop says Ding Dong of the Week is Walker Buehler complaining about needing more money because of inflation. He's set to make $7.25 this year. Now, that I didn't see.
What?
I was unaware of Walker talking about money. I did not see that. Lonzo says the Zion Williams Mardi Gras float, but a good ding dong. I don't know what that means.
Apparently, there was a Mardi Gras float making fun of Zion Williamson.
Oh,
okay. Well, it's more available than Zion Williamson. If it made Mardi Gras, then it's more available than its namesake. Or
yeah, I think he's
likeness.
just trying to get his. He's trying to get traded for sure, man. They said he's not even around the team. Like he's rehabbed somewhere else. Like he's not even there. Like what's the guy? McCullough. He hasn't met him. He hasn't met him in live in person. He said he met him via text.
He said he looked forward to meeting.
I mean, you know what? That sounds like something that Lucas generation would do. I'll meet you via text.
Fair.
Yeah.
He said he looked forward to meeting
I'm sure he thinks that's okay. He could at least give him a call. Come on, man. You're not even there. You're supposed to be the best player on the team. I know you've been injured all season, but come on, man. That's not a good look, man. Yeah, Riddick. What's the kid that used to play for Duke? He went off on him. He said he's disconnected and won't even talk to people or anything. So, yeah.
They got a problem. They got to take
He wants out. He wants to be in a big market. He wanted to be in New York when he got drafted, and he's not happy. Now he's gotten injured. He's like, all right, it's time to make that move now.
Yep. I'm just not going to meet anybody, not going to show up, do my rehab somewhere else.
NBA is so different. The superstars I just don't like it here anymore.
Right.
Something just changed. That's Harden.
Yeah, right.
And you see him now? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Philadelphia looks like, they're going to be a serious hard beat up there in the East, man. I hope they end up playing Brooklyn versus Philly in the Eastern Conference Final. That will be what you're asking for right there, right? Oh, man, I can't wait.
I'll watch that.
Yes, I will be all over every single game, too.
If Embiid stays healthy, he's not a human. Like, God doesn't make people like that. Just like one. It was like, oops, all right, go ahead and let him go.
But see how he's worked on his game, though?
Yep.
Because in college, he couldn't even shoot a three. He said he would go to the bench. He said the coach would be like, no, you can't do that.
Right.
He's worked on his game, evolved his game. He's got a back to the basket. He can shoot threes. He got the mid-range. There's nothing that he can do. Matter of fact, he may win the MVP this year.
They keep winning like this?
Yeah. And you know who's gotten hurt, though, with the addition of Harden, though? Tobias Harris. I mean, he's now become a role player to a certain. He's like the fourth option. Maxi's passed him. And I know it's still early. He only played 3 or 4 games, and he's lights out. Tobias can shoot with the best of them.
The ball looks like a grapefruit too in Embiid's hands. It looks like a regular person holding the tennis ball or something.
He's unstoppable.
He's just a full-sized human. Lucas, let's hear all about your ding-dong. What you got?
Oh, yeah. Tell us all about your ding-dong. Is it frozen from being up at the stadium there?
He's young. He doesn't get cold.
No, it's fine.
Man, he blocked me from texting to me, man. That's what it said on my phone. I said, what?
Okay, is y'all's phone doing that now where it automatically puts it on Do Not Disturb without you doing anything?
No.
So your phone did it on its own?
My phone does that every day now. Every day I look down and it says, your phone's on Do Not Disturb mode, and I have to take it off. I got to figure
Lucas
that out.
pissed off? He must be really cold.
Man.
It was chilly up there, but it was good outdoor hockey weather.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of history, man, out there, man. Come on, man.
Eric took my ding-dong with the Hugh Jackson and Art Briles fiasco, but I do want to read the last paragraph of the statement that Hugh Jackson put out, which I feel like anytime you have to put out a statement to justify hiring somebody,
you've done the wrong thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's probably bad, especially when that has to do with sexual assault and one of the worst scandals in modern college sports history. at Baylor. This final paragraph in his statement: as we move forward with Coach Briles, we ask that people keep in mind that no matter your views on this topic, please remember that people can and often do become re-traumatized and re-victimized by statements which may or may not be accurate. We will continue to support Coach Briles and all victims of assault, violence, social and racial injustices, and we will continue to provide equal opportunity for healing for everyone. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what they're trying to say there. The whole statement is about giving
that he's not going to fire him. Right. That's what
it's all about giving second chances and that to be careful what you read and inaccuracies, but at the same time, watch out for the victims. You can't have it both ways.
Somebody needed – that's when your AD just has to say no, but, wouldn't do it. Somebody above in the food chain or the person who was asked to come in the room and write that needed to say, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Because you could have that just sounds terrible. Yeah, I mean, it's just total ding-dongery.
It actually could get him no longer at Grambling. They just hired him.
It's gibberish. I mean, it's just, and it's about such an important and touchy subject. Art Briles didn't even make the press release when the Hamilton Tiger Cats tried to hire him in the CFL.
Yeah.
It blew up in their face.
Just shows you, though, how desperate are people to win. No, you need zero proof other than just keep watching Art Briles get hired and then uproar happen. He's been coaching at a high school.
Yeah.
Some place he's been there last couple of years. Working with kids. Hey, man, Art Briles, in the locker room trying to tell you, do the right thing, kids.
Right.
Just like you, coach. Huh?
Exactly.
I don't know all the details in that case. Did he, get I guess some favor in that he wasn't actually part of that whole deal? Like, it was some new news came out like later, 2 years after the whole incident, about who was really involved and everything else when they had some firm go in and do the investigation. So I can't recall what it said, but it enlightened me on some different things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember what those were.
The bottom line, because it's a very complicated and a long, drawn-out investigation, but the bottom line is he oversaw the worst the worst sexual assault scandal in modern collegiate sports history, right, was with him at the top. Mm-hmm. So you can probably pinpoint what he did and didn't do wrong, but he oversaw all of it. The accountability that just wasn't there was all on his watch, and just a messed up thing. Just a messed up thing that Hugh Jackson decided to do.
A lot of kind of looking the other way and enabling guys to continue to play and stay on the team.
What year was that? That was some years ago, right?
Yeah, the height of Art Briles at Baylor was 11, 12, 13.
Oh, when he had him going,
in that range.
10-ish years ago.
When RG3 won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it was horrific, but just for sake of just adult conversation, so when should he be able to get another job? After the conviction, and there's nothing you can do to take back what all had happened. But now that time has passed, when there's no rule, like, when does he get an opportunity to actually coach?
If I'm a parent, I never want my kid playing for anybody that was in any part of that. So I would say no. I would say, your time's never. Up.
Okay.
Well, Grambling decided now.
Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Hugh Jackson. Yeah, Grambling didn't. I'm sure there's some people on the board of trustees that are like, make this stop. All right, we can get back to this later for sure, but we got our guy Ben McKee set to join us next. We'll talk a little Vols with him. Huge basketball win, baseball just killing poor Iona. The biggest beatdown in history. We'll get to all that and more. My ding-dong, Kyler Murray's agent. We have to hit that sum at the top of the next hour. Just an unbelievable thing that happened with Kyler Murray and his agent. That ended with the typo. But Ben McKee is next, talking Vols here on Blaine and Mickey.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Let's head over to Knoxville. Our buddy Ben McKee joins us. Ben, it's been too long, man. Congrats, on the new baby and all that wild good news that you got going.
Man, it's good to hear from y'all again. It has been too long. I appreciate the well wishes for sure.
Yes, sir. Ben McKee, soon to be father. Very happy for that. At Ben McKee 14 on Twitter. Swain event and VolQuest doing good work. So maybe the biggest story. I love to always look at the box score and see what stands out. Man, Tennessee absolutely destroyed Auburn on the boards in that game.
Yes, and I am still stunned that happened.
Yeah.
54-31. I did not see that coming whatsoever. I definitely did not see Brandon Huntley-Hatfield having as many offensive rebounds, 5, as Walker Kessler did total rebounds. I did not see that coming whatsoever, but it was a great team effort in terms of the rebounding. Brandon Huntley-Hatfield had 8 total in the 5 offensive boards that I mentioned. Josiah Jordan-James, he had 9 rebounds, almost had a double-double if he could have grabbed one more. Urosh had 7. Jonas Adu had 5. John Fulkerson had 9. So they've had to step up with the injury to Olivier Camwan. They don't have that Grant Williams that they can just simply rely on down in the post. It's going to have to be a team effort, and it certainly was on Saturday, and that's the reason that they won, in my opinion. On top of great defense, obviously, but rebounding obviously falls into that category as well. So I'm still stunned that Tennessee dominated Auburn on the glass. I did not see that coming at all.
Sure did, and came out with the win. Ben McKee, our guest here on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Ben, I guess kind of explain to us when the crowd says overrated, because I don't think Coach Barnes understands what the fans are actually doing. He feels like that's not true. What are your thoughts?
And I certainly understand Rick Barnes and him trying to preach to the choir. I do think he was preaching to the choir. And I get it. It's college kids. Mm-hmm. They're having a good time. They're into the atmosphere. And for whatever reason, our society has adopted that as the cool thing to do when your team is about to pull off a big win. I don't really know why we got to this point, because when everybody sits back and thinks about it, it makes sense why it's stupid to chant overrated, especially when the other team is not overrated. And as Rick Barnes said, you just beat them, and you're diminishing the accomplishment of the players.
Yes.
So I don't understand why we reached this point that we feel the need to do that. And but I guess I also get it. It's college kids. It's kind of like the swag surfing thing. 30, 40, 50-year-olds, they think it's silly, but in the moment when you're in the student section, it's the cool and fun thing to do. So certainly not the greatest chant in the world. And I certainly understand Rick Barnes trying to say, hey, there's enough of that. And it's funny if you go back and watch the video, you can tell, even without the noise, exactly when the chant started, because Rick Barnes immediately started to try and wave it off and get the students to stop.
There's no way of stopping the masses of the student section for sure. Just give it up. Let it go there, Coach Barnes. I guess something that's not overrated is Kelly Chandler's free throw shooting all season. I mean, man, this could come back to bite them down the road and cost them some games. And not just him, but I'm looking at him because he's the primetime player and everybody's looking at, and he's going to be a first-round pick. But, this the team in general. They got to make sure that they hone in on some free throws, especially, when you're playing in a neutral site in the tournament, let's say, and then you got to win those close games, especially if it becomes a defensive game and you're not hitting on all cylinders on the offensive side, man. So what do you think the issue is?
You're spot on. Tennessee's got to figure out the free throw issue. It has been a team issue, but Kennedy Chandler has been, I guess you could say, the main culprit. I don't have the numbers.
Is he shooting like 60% or something? I mean, he's the point guard?
Right. And
58.
He's a good shooter. And it's like he has good form, so it doesn't really make sense. Rick Barnes talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and he said it was as simple as concentration. And you can also kind of see, if you watch Kennedy, when he shoots the free throw, it kind of seems like he's falling back and or drifting one way or the other. It's the same thing that Santiago Vescovi gets in trouble with on his three-point shots sometimes. He gets to drifting too much, and he doesn't get enough legs into it. So I'm certainly not Rick Barnes when it comes to coaching up somebody's shot, but It just seems like a minor tweak is all that is needed. And Rick Barnes spoke to just simple concentration a couple of weeks ago, and then Kennedy Chandler came out and had a good free throw shooting night. So it's certainly baffling because he is I mean, he's not the Steph Curry out there in terms of a shooter, but I mean, he's got nice form. It doesn't look ugly when he's shooting. It doesn't make sense why they're not going in, but it has been an issue all season long. And I actually had that thought that you brought up during the game on Saturday, is that he's got to figure this out because it could certainly come back to bite Tennessee in the butt in the tournament. You've got to make free throws in the tournament, SEC tournament, NCAA tournament. And if you don't believe that, just go ask the team that's located west that Penny Hardaway is coaching. They certainly understand the importance of free throws.
Ben McKee, VolQuest.com.
Georgia tomorrow night, and then finish versus Arkansas, which you take care of business against Georgia. I would imagine it will be an absolute zoo up there on Saturday again.
Absolutely. They're checkering TBA, which should be a cool scene on television or if you are in person to watch the game. They've done it before, and it looks tremendous. You never question Tennessee fans answering the bell, and they'll show up and they'll show out. And the atmosphere has been absolutely tremendous the last couple of weeks. Kentucky was a terrific game. Even going back to Arizona before Christmas, LSU midway through conference play, or I guess more towards the beginning when Tennessee was sputtering, the fans have really helped Tennessee win some games down the stretch. And Auburn certainly was an excellent environment, probably the best one of the year. And Thompson-Boling Arena is one of the best environments in college basketball, especially when it's sold out for the big games. And not saying that that's the only time it's a great atmosphere. Anybody who was in the building for Vanderbilt earlier this season, or Ole Miss, Florida, even some mid-tier SEC teams, TBA was still rocking. And Rick Barnes was actually talking about it after the game on Saturday, that a couple of years ago, former assistant Rob Lanier kind of tapped him on the leg one game, and it was on Christmas Eve, and Tennessee had 16,000 people in the stands for a game. I believe it was against Tennessee Tech. So it's not just the Kentuckys and the Auburns that fans show up for. I mean, it's every game. And when you have that big of an arena, you're going to have some empty seats when it is mid-tier to lesser opponents. But even in those games, Tennessee's still getting 14, 15, 16,000, which is far more than a lot of schools can get into their gym, and it certainly still gets loud. So it'll be like that again on Saturday, and Arkansas is playing as well as anybody in the country, maybe the best of anybody in the country right now, and Tennessee is certainly going to need the fans to give them a boost to get over the hump against the Hogs.
Hey, we're super low on time, like 20 seconds or so, but did Iona bring a full team or anything this weekend? They got beat 68-3. Did they have enough guys?
I was out there.
No.
They got hammered. Whoa.
That was bad.
It was bad. The Vols would have had a much better thing if they just practiced against themselves for the weekend. But Iona can take the check and drive back to, New York, I guess. Hey, Ben, good stuff. I know it was a rapid-fire visit. We'll have you on longer sooner, and we'll catch up again, okay?
Absolutely. Y'all have a great week.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
man.
At Ben McKee, 14, Swain Event, VolQuest. When we come back, we got all kinds of news for you, including, let's just say, orange news, but not big orange news, but the kind of orange news that excites me because it could mean some big news here. I'll get to all that next.
It is 2:04. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. The MLB lockout continues as the MLB and MLBPA reportedly remain far from reaching a new collective bargaining agreement. And if a new CBA is not agreed upon today, which does not appear likely, opening day on March 31st will be canceled, along with potentially a week's worth of games. In other baseball news, Derek Jeter has stepped down as the CEO of the Miami Marlins. New AP Top 25 is out for men's and women's hoops. Tennessee on the men's side moves up to number 13 in the country after defeating number 3 Auburn at home on Saturday 67-62 on a day where each of the top 6 teams in college hoops all fell on the same day. First time that's ever happened. As for the Lady Vols, they fall to number 18 in the country, going down 2 spots after losing to number 8 LSU on Sunday in the regular season finale. Up next for Tennessee, the SEC women's basketball tournament will be held right here in Nashville at Bridgestone Arena and will tip off Wednesday with Vanderbilt taking on Texas A&M. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up? Happy Monday, everybody. Beautiful day outside. Good to have you with us. The temperature is going up. It's going to be March tomorrow, so you got your March Madness.
People still have their ding-dongs that they're sending us talking about no USFL draft coverage.
Yeah, Monday ding-dong of the weekday. Lonzo was upset about there not being enough USFL draft coverage. We got Coach Matt coming on tomorrow. We can ask him about it. He was there for the USFL draft.
They did it via social media.
Yes, they did.
We did draft coverage last week. We went through every quarterback taken in the first round.
I asked you where they went to school.
Got every college out there.
Occidental is for one of those guys.
You know what I would love? You know what?
No
Remind
one
me to
covers
ask
the
Coach
USFL
Mack
draft
about
like
this,
we do.
about how did they come up with the format of how to do the drafts by position? Naturally, quarterback was first, but like how did they come up with that idea? You know what? That sounds like a fishbone idea. I really believe that.
I have a feeling Coach Mack knows the answer to that.
I really do, because that was a genius idea.
I thought it was genius.
I thought I really was, especially, considering the league and how it is and everything else, and where they're coming from, and trying to fill up their roster. So I felt like it was like baseball. That thing was going into round 30 or so. I was like, dang, it's still going? Because I think they have to have, 36 players or something like that?
I think it's 36 is the number. And then next year you'll also have the XFL. I mean, I know a bunch of you don't care at all about these extra football leagues, but they do give a lot of people a job of some kind. And this deal, what we ask, basically 45,000 for a football season. So you could still go, if you wanted to, you could go do something else, or, teach lessons or coach quarterbacks or whatever else you wanted to do with your time. But I mean, that's football jobs for somebody. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to. I'm sick. I will watch it. I'm watching it. I'm going to watch it. There's some other football news. There's news.
Try.
Just saw this on Pro Football Talk. The Bucs have announced the creamsicle uniforms. I teased there's orange news. It's not Tennessee.
Oh, man. You love the creamsicle?
Creamsicle uniforms. Not 2022, because the supply chain is so depleted of everything, they couldn't get any uniforms. So they're just saying next year, 2023.
So they don't know, at some point next year they're going to be wearing them. So
2023.
The creamsicle, that's with the Doug Williams, Steve Young time? I know there was a different time in between there, but we're talking about Doug Williams.
Doug Williams, yeah. I mean,
man, creamsicle. Did you love the creamsicle?
I did.
You're a big uniform guy. I wasn't a big, that didn't rock my boat too much.
They were so hideous and so different than everybody else's uniforms that to me they were just amazing.
So they were so bad, they were good. Huh.
And they had their own pirate on the helmet, but he had like a sword in his teeth.
I did like the logo on the side of that.
Yeah.
I did.
But he wasn't mean looking like the Raider pirate. He looked like he could be a friend of yours, Like you just go and plunder and pillage together. He'd be your friend. 2 tones of orange.
2 tones of orange.
It was 2-tone orange.
That's another question. Who was your favorite, outside of the Titans, what is your favorite uniform, team uniform colors? And, just how it looks. Helmet involved, too. Man, I don't know. I like being kind of hard and rough around the edge. The Raiders. I think that would have fit my bill, because I didn't care how I looked on the football field. My shirt be out, my, elbow sleeve is ripped. fingers taped. Yeah, I was all about, oh, man. I know all of, those cool, phenomenal athletes. Oh, I look good. I play good. Yeah, Deion, Dyson, all those dudes like that. Yeah, not me.
Have their towel in the right spot and everything. Yeah, not you.
You know what I would do with my towel? I tie it to my belt buckle. If I needed to wipe my sweat, I'm good
then
to go.
Then you needed a towel.
But,
yeah,
but that's it, man. That's it, man. And everything else is like, hey, man, let's just ball. When I turn on the tape, I want to say, hey, man, that dude can play some ball. Not, oh, man, he looks sweet in his uniform.
Well, you got to wear the Oilers uniform, and I'm just saying this.
Oh, so the Oilers is going to be number one for you?
Nobody has anything like it in the NFL. There's nothing that blue color. There's just nothing like it. Now, I like the Lions blue, and I like the Panthers blue, okay. But the blue and the red, that's the thing. That's what the Oilers had. And the oil derrick was a fantastic logo. That's think about it. An oil derrick. I mean, you wore it. It was your uniform, for goodness sakes. I'm more excited about it than you are. You wore it in the Astrodome, which is full of cats now, apparently.
As I said, I wasn't a big uniform guy, or let alone the old Derek. You know what? I think you become immune to it as a professional athlete because you don't know how long you'll be in that uniform. Right. So it becomes just a uniform. It becomes just a helmet.
Yeah.
And this is about the business part of the game. Initially, when you get there, oh, yeah, you're super excited. Man, dream come true. And then as you see and filter, and then you see Warren Moon trading, you go, oh, this is different. How'd they get rid of him?
Right. Was anybody safe?
After my rookie year, and I'm going, that's how I'm thinking. So it's like, okay, yeah, I love the uniform. I love the opportunity that the organization gave me in the NFL. But I never, I don't know, even growing up as a kid. So I was a big Cowboys fan because I played Little League for the Cowboys, but I can't say that I probably paid attention to their uniforms more. I love the blue one of the blue and the gray, and they always lost when they wore the dark blue.
Oh, Cowboys? Yeah, Cowboys fans hated the sight of the blue jerseys.
But I can't say, oh, man, that was my favorite. That wasn't why it drew me to the team. It was only because I played Little League football for the, Indianapolis Boys and Girls Club.
The green
Cowboys.
of the Eagles. You were an Eagle too. The green, the Kelly green of the Eagles.
Oh, it's a dark green. Yeah.
Yeah. Not the current one that they wear. That were the black one. I'm talking about what Fred Barnett and Randall Cunningham and Reggie White wore.
Oh, and Carmichael.
And Harold Carmichael.
Brian Jaworski. Wilbur Montgomery.
All those guys. Mm-hmm. Vince Papale, the invincible guy.
Yeah, right.
My man.
I don't know who that is. No, just kidding.
See, but they can wear that color again. Yeah, we've had him on. Yeah. That's my guy. His son signed in the USFL, Vinny. He's a wide receiver with the Houston Gamblers.
That's cool.
Vinny Papale. So, yeah, man. I'm so excited about throwbacks.
So the Oilers, Eagles, and Tampa Bay are your top three?
Well, the other one, too.
Oh,
I have so many.
The other one, too. Oh, my
God.
The
Patriots.
Please help them.
Is the Patriots with the Patriot hiking the ball.
Oh, yeah. That you're talking about the Tony Collins.
Yes. Steve Grogan.
Grogan era with the neck.
Mosey Tatupu.
Yeah.
Dude, those. I got to hold one of those at the Super Bowl a few years ago. I have a picture of me holding it like a baby. It is, oh, my gosh. It is the coolest. You're not excited to see the Titans come out in those, in the old throwbacks. I'm beyond excited to see those guys in those uniforms.
But even when they did the throwbacks, they didn't wear like the Oiler. They had the helmet.
They went
back. Did they wear the Oiler blue like on the uniforms?
They went back to.
They had the solid, and it was just the numbers were all white.
Yep, they wore baby
like
blue
back in the day. Yep. Like I don't know, maybe 60s. I'm assuming.
Yep. They went back to a different era and wore
not the Oilers, the Houston,
not the
Oilers.
Love You Blue Oilers, but pre that blue jerseys
came back with that
and blue helmets. Yeah,
do you think they could ever do that?
Wear the baby blue again, the Oiler baby blue.
Oiler blue.
I think so, but I think maybe you can only have two helmets, so they'll just have their dark blue helmet and then they'll have a white helmet. But as you and Dyson pointed out during the show, the postgame show, our uniforms were throwbacks. At this point, they could just throw back to the white Titans helmet.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
So you are a double throwback, Oiler and Titan.
Oh, wow. Man, you really making me old here. Yeah.
The double throwback helmet. Now, I'm pumped about this. I just think it'll be fun. I think they should do Throwback Thursday. I think Thursday Night Football should be Throwback Thursday. every week.
Every week?
I think it should be Throwback
Didn't
Thursday.
they do something similar to that before?
They did Color Rash is what I called it.
But it was on Thursdays, wasn't it?
It was on Thursday night. And I always said this is so terrible.
That's different than Throwback, though.
Throwback Thursday would be the greatest. And like you said, doesn't have to be every Thursday.
But
Maybe it's
Lucas wouldn't even know who some of these teams are.
Oh, Lucas.
And that's who are you appealing to?
Me, old people.
Lucas would care less. What team
Do
is
you
that?
not like throwbacks? If the Bugs came out in the creamsicle box.
I'm into it. I remember the creamsicles. They had them a few years back. Yeah, I'm into the throwbacks. I'm interested in that type of stuff and what they looked like.
Oh, you would love to wear it, too. And it's also another way to promote new gear.
Oh,
you
all
throw
the gear.
At the stadiums that you can now sell when you have that week. So it's also a proposition. That's how you got to parlay it to make money as well from each organization.
Yeah, but if they're going to do throwbacks, I'd prefer they did throwbacks, like tearaway jerseys. Like old school. Keep the helmets the way they are because they're safer and all that. But as far as the jerseys go, if you're going to go throwback, I don't want like a tight-knit Nike jersey. I want a loose jersey that's going to rip off as soon as you get tackled.
See also Earl Campbell.
Yeah, just running in tatters down the sideline. I love that. I wish I could have seen that era of football.
Oh, it was a
up.
magical time, Lucas.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
I didn't see that time either.
I saw it. There was, I'll admit it. And here's the thing, too. There was so precious little of it. There was no cable. You just got 3 or 4 channels in your house. You got a Sunday noon game. If you got 2 channels, maybe you got 2. Then you got 1 3 o'clock game. It was always the Cowboys. If they weren't on Monday Night Football, that was it. There were 3 time slots. There was no Sunday Night Football. There was no Thursday Night Football. That's just what there was. There was no cable networks to cover it all the time. There was no Twitter to follow it. It was just like precious gold that you were mining for each week.
Now there's just everywhere.
And that's everywhere. And fans still can't get enough of it. We still can't get enough of it. It's, February 28th, and we're talking about the NFL. That's the way it is. We will talk about the NFL next because our guy Spotrac, Mike Ginnitti, is joining us. There's a lot to discuss, Titans-wise, league-wise. We got financial questions. And, of course, Mr. Spotrac himself has answers. That's next on Blaine and McKee. Blaine and McKee, 104.5 The Zone. Always love catching up with this next guest. Mike Ginnitti joins us. He is at Spotrac on Twitter because he is at Spotrac. That's who he is. Mike, how in the world are you doing today?
Oh, just kind of getting through the rat race here. You know, it's we're ramping up to that time. Franchise tags and plenty of roster cuts and movement, but doing well. Appreciate you having me.
Let's get to first things first. The news getting out today, the creamsicle buck uniforms are coming back. I mean, let's talk about important stuff, Mike. You can't put a price on that kind of glory.
Right. How to gloss over those 13 notable free agents on that squad.
Was it you tweeted out their lineup and literally everybody is retired or a free agent? I mean, I know they kept the band together for one more year, but oh my goodness, do they have some holes to fill now?
They went 22 for 22 last year. They're 9 for 22 right now with that starting lineup.
Goodness. Do you think Tom Brady plays again?
I think the odds are against it, but he's going to get wooed. You know, somebody's going to screw this offseason up and try to call and get him back because he's not officially retired. You know, they're going to wait in Tampa to actually make that move until June 2nd for cap purposes. There's going to be a chance to acquire him via trade, so I'm not going to rule it out. But I do think, you know, especially with this TV money being offered and thrown around, I do think there's going to be a better opportunity for him elsewhere.
What did you think about the ransom note that Kyler Murray's agent wrote the Cardinals, and then, of course, it had a misspelled word in the last sentence?
Oh, no, it did not.
Yes, it did. Choses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the pre-coffee caps lock, too, right? Man, they're screaming at us. But
it's like Brady Hoke sent the letter, yes.
Oh, come on.
I thought it was – why is it necessary? He's a number one overall pick.
Right.
He's an MVP candidate for 12 weeks last year. The numbers – I mean, I'm not just, you know – throwing numbers at a wall here. His mathematical numbers say he's a $43 million quarterback in our system. You shouldn't have had to do this. Now, if Arizona doesn't want to pay, go find a team that does and make that your point of contention. I just think this was too early to be yelling that loud about this.
Yeah, they are yelling. Check it out. The whole release. Make yourself some time, though. It's going to take a while to get through it. Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac, our guest here on Blaine and McKee.
Well, Mike, the nemesis of the Titans, and not this past season, but the Indianapolis Colts, if they walk from Wentz here, who potentially are they trading for with all the numbers, everything involved? Is it Russell Wilson, even Aaron Rodgers? I mean, just kind of give us a scenario where possibly could happen if they go down a different direction on Wentz.
I can't imagine it being anybody but those two because that's been the question I keep throwing at it. The numbers are there and they're fine, and you know there's a good chunk of cash that they're going to owe him regardless. But if they're not making a significant upgrade, and I realize Wentz has his deficiencies, and you know he may have single-handedly kept them out of the playoffs last year with that last game, but I don't think they're going to be able to easily do better for 1 year at least here. So I'm not putting this one down as a possibility until, you know, some of these big fish really start making that a destination. It should be. I mean, that roster can really be something with the right quarterback at the hand. But I do think that at this point in time, Wentz is long for 2022 right now.
Oh, so you're saying Wentz stays in Indy?
I am, yeah. I don't think you're not going to make Teddy Bridgewater or somebody like that, you know, the plan B right now. I think you stick with what you have. The contract certainly says they should, but, you know, unless it's a big fish, I'm sticking with Wentz right now.
Well, I love Jameis Winston on social media, especially Twitter, when he puts out his rehab, and every time he's doing something, I just laugh because the way it looks, just perception-wise. And he was on the treadmill where, you have the bubble around you, and it kind of helps you float, and it doesn't put so much pressure off coming off an ACL surgery. So where do you think he may end up? And will it be in a situation where he actually possibly could be the starter?
I think he's absolutely the starter for the Saints right now. I don't know why they wouldn't go that route. I think it's the same contract, about 5 and change, with incentives to get up there with playing time and production. You know, he's not going to break the bank, that's for sure, coming off this injury. But he's got the best look at that team. That, you know, they hired a coach that was internal, so they're not really reaching too far outside of things right now. And I don't believe in Taysom Hill. I don't know what that is yet. So I think Jameis has the best shot there, unless they go big. And to me, the only player right now that's available out there that could supplant Jameis with that role is Marcus Mariota. I think that franchise has wanted Mariota for quite some time, and now they have a free shot to get him. So maybe there's a competition between him and Winston come this summer. But I do think Jameis re-signed with New Orleans.
Wow, so Marcus Mariota possibly to the Saints is what you're saying, huh? Also as well, to compete. That'd be interesting, the number 1 and 2 pick in the same draft.
That's right. Couple of flameouts from a couple of years ago. But isn't he a better version of what they want Taysom Hill to be? I just don't know what that is. So
Yeah, I thought they got a little too quick to the trigger to give him a contract. He wasn't quite ready. Now, we're going to look at the Titans, and what would you possibly be doing, looking at the numbers, specifically on the offensive line, to kind of get to where you want to be on the cap? Anybody there you see cap casualty or pay cut restructuring, kind of go through that line and kind of tell us what possibly would happen if you were in the Titans organization?
Yeah, it's a tough situation because it certainly starts at the top with Tannehill. There's plenty of rumors out there. I think he stays. I'm more confident he stays than I am with Carson Wentz right now. So if that's the case and they really are wavering on Tannehill's future, I can't restructure Ryan Tannehill, even though that's the easiest contract to do so with. I'm keeping everything where it is right now so that I have an out next year, because if I restructure a decent amount of that salary this year, it really makes it complicated to move on from him next year, whether it's from a dead cap standpoint. Yeah. And they have other options. So I'm putting that one to the side for now. I'm gonna restructure Bud Dupree. I'm gonna restructure Derrick Henry because there's minimal dead cap next year, even if I have to get out of it. I think I'm moving on from Zach Cunningham, even if I might bring him back, but I got to get out of that current contract because it's too high for the next 3 years and it's non-guaranteed. So I can free up almost $30 million right there with what I've told you. And then it comes down to me, one of the tackles. And I know Taylor Lewan is a good player still, but I think it's a situation where you just want to get out of that contract as well. And I know he's threatening to retire and things like that, but between him and Lamb, you can free up $13 million with Lewan and $5 million with Lamb. One of them is going to go, in my opinion. One of those tackles is going to go just because you need the cap space. But those 4 or 5 moves right there, guys, that's $52 million of cap opened up come March 16th. So you don't have to do too much to get yourself healthy here. And like I said, to me, it's about keeping Tannehill's contract intact so that you can preserve the quarterback option in 2023.
I'm going to ask you about one more guy, and that's Saffold with his contract. I know he went to the Pro Bowl, but he kept getting nicked up and having a stinger or neck, shoulder issue, but he was finishing games like a warrior. But where do you see his contract?
It's probably about right. He has shown that he's got playoff experience. There's a lot going on with him, so he's valuable. I'm not dumping out of that contract, but it's whether I want him here for a year, 2 more years or 1 more year versus the restructure, similar to a Tannehill conversation. If I like him, I'm going to bump out some void years and maybe even extend him to a multi-year just to spread that cap out a little bit, because the cap hits almost $13 million. It's a little bit high. But I think there's too much value to having him on the roster right now to mess around with his contract too much.
Wrong with Mike Ginnitti, Spotrac.
It's franchise tagging season, although usually nothing happens until a little bit later on. I think this process goes until March the 8th. A lot of Titans fans wonder what in the world's going to happen with Harold Landry.
Certainly possible, and they're going to have to free up some cap space to make that happen, even from a placeholder standpoint. But he's on the list. He's on my short list. It's not a big list this year. It's going to be a down year for tags, I believe, outside of the wide receiver position. But I think it makes sense. This guy, he hasn't done this for a bunch of years where you just have to go to a multi-year extension right away. I think he's a perfect kind of candidate for the 1-year tender to see what you have. You don't want to make any rash decisions and bump out $50 million fully guaranteed at signing or things like that. So I think it's the right move for 2022, even though from a cap perspective, it's not friendly in that regard.
What do you think they're going to have to pay Jeff Simmons?
Whew, man, that got real quick.
Yeah, that's what I say too.
I mean, talk about turning a corner at the right time. He hit that window really well here. So do they slow play this because of the position he plays? That's what concerns me. He's just not in those positions where you have to give an early contract. But, it's $21 million right now without even trying on my site. So I think that there's going to be a chance for him to get upwards of 25, 26 and get in that conversation if he has another big year. But do you try to nickel and dime him early and get him under contract now? Maybe, because I think a lot of things on that defense are right. I think you've done a lot of really good work on the defensive side of the ball. So even if you have to flip that quarterback position next year, I think you can have a pretty decent team and kind of get yourself through that bridge situation at the quarterback spot.
So what do you do with A.J. Brown then? Because that's another one they got to figure out, and him sooner than later.
I love the player, and he's a $20 million wide receiver, even with the injuries and things like that. I don't think I'm paying him right now. And I know that's going to be controversial, but it's 3 years in a row now where we've seen a huge free agent market, a huge trade market and a huge first round full of wide receivers that are available. We're getting to a point now where there's a surplus, and I'm not sure these guys are going to be able to sustain these big contracts on the free agent market anymore, or even with extensions, because there's too many good options available. Supply-demand situation. So I think I'm waiting on A.J. Brown and letting this thing get to more of like a Mike Williams situation where I have to throw a tag on him eventually and maybe hammer something out last minute.
Mike Ginnitti of Spotrac bringing the heat today here on Blaine and
Ooh,
Mickey.
I'm liking what I'm hearing, man. It sounds like a true GM, man. I think you may get hired off this interview, Mike, man. You better watch out, man. All righty now. We've talked about some great components, but a key cog in the offensive line, he's getting up there in age, 33. He's a free agent. So kind of take me through the thought process on how would you look at Ben Jones at 33, productive player, good solid piece, very consistent, but do you move on or do you give him a reasonable contract if he'll take it?
No, I make the reasonable offer. I don't overpay for him because of everything you just said, but I do think he gets overpaid for. I think the Bears or the Bengals or some of these teams that just absolutely have to overhaul their offensive lines come swinging big for a player like this. Him and Ryan Jensen are both set up for monster contracts. So I think I just kind of cut my losses on this one, understand that he's going to get his money elsewhere, and either go high in the draft for something like this or find a plan B, plan C, maybe a swing guy who can do guard and center for you. And try to save some dollars in that regard. But I think he's gonna see some big time dollar signs this offseason.
One question I'm always wondering, because everybody acts like Julio Jones won't be back with the team, which possibly could happen. But in June when it lesser in cap, but they used a second round pick for him. So what do you think is going to happen with him?
Now you nailed it. To me, those trades tell you a lot of stories about what's going to happen for the next couple of years. Orlando Brown in Kansas City, they probably don't want to pay him $25 million a year, but you gave up too much on the trade. You have to do it now. So I think that's where they are with Julio. You got to make it one more year and try to get a year and a half out of him as best as possible. If you have to restructure, you restructure for cap purposes. But again, I'm not touching that one either. I think you kind of align him with Ryan Tannehill, contractually speaking, and then if you have to move on from both next season, you do so.
You talked about Lewan. Let's go back. What free agent offensive tackles are out there that, you don't have to give the 20 million, 18 to 20 million. Get you a really good tackle at $10 million. Who is that guy that's on the market?
That's getting harder and harder to say right now.
I know. Well, maybe I'm a little, maybe
like
12, 14.
Yeah, you need to find some. It's certainly not going to be a Terran Armstead, right, or an Orlando Brown. Those names are gone. Those are $20 million players. So you're going to have to look. This is a good time of year, not just for who's available, but who may be available. So start looking at those bubble lists for other teams, because there's going to be teams who are in cap hell that just can't handle their offensive line right now from a contractual standpoint. But you may have to nickel and dime this thing. You may have to kind of patch some things together if you move on from your left tackle, which is why I think Kendall Lamb might be the easier cut here. I think you can find a $6 million option at right tackle right now, or you can even draft a player that can slot in immediately at that position. I'm not a proponent of moving on from your left tackle if you absolutely don't have to, and I don't think he's overpaid either.
Well, good thought, man. I didn't know if you were thinking earlier to maybe move on or what. I know he's missed some games, but still a really solid player. Another potential cut is, and I don't know the rates for punters, and I love Kern. He's done a great job, but where is he hit on the cap with the Titans? And could he possibly be a restructure? And I hope not to be released by any means.
No, he's too good to release. But you can free up almost $3.25 just to get out of that contract. So if you restructure that, can you free up $2.5? Does that, to me, you cut your losses probably doing that. I'd get him on a brand new contract, maybe a 2-year extension, drop that salary to the minimum, and free up about $2.5 million. But he's got to stay. He's too important to that roster right now.
No doubt. We're with Mike Ginnitti, Spotrac.
The P in MVP stands for punter around here, Mike. So my high value tight end for the Titans is Tyler Conklin, the Minnesota Vikings free agent. Like, you don't have money, you can't pay everybody. But to me, that guy would be – he's a big guy, he blocks, and he's really blossomed as a receiving tight end too.
Well, you're not swinging too big there, are you? There's a lot of good tight ends out there.
Yeah, I was going to the kid from the Browns.
Much money, Mike. It's a minimal swing here.
There's Everett. There's some guys out there.
I think there's a chance they go big. I think there's a chance they go Zach Ertz and go really big. But if you can keep that first-year cap hit low, I think there's a really chance, especially if you're thinking all in with Tannehill for a year. But I like where your head is here. I'll put another name with that because Conklin's going to be, less than $5 million probably because he's more of a blocking back. What about a Blake Jarwin, who I think is going to fall off that Cowboys roster, has had injuries? He's probably going to need a one-year showcase deal to get himself back to health. And I think that's that player that can really blossom in the right system. And tight end's a huge need for that Titans roster right now.
Well, that other Cowboys tight end that's a free agent's about to get serious money, though. Yeah.
Too much. Yeah, too much. Probably a franchise tag first.
Who is the biggest name casually? If you just had to guess, and we're not going to hold you to this, but if you're like, this is the guy that I think could get released that would shock everybody because of cap number.
Well, you're lucky. I did a huge roster bubble piece today, literally an hour and a half ago. So I've got these names ready to fire.
Okay.
Jack Rabbit on there?
No.
I read it. For the Titans, you had LaJuan Cunningham and Kendall Lamb. I read the article,
You just said you wouldn't cut him.
Yeah.
I just said he's on the bubble. I didn't say
On the bubble. Yeah,
okay.
on the bubble.
Bubble. Okay.
I think the biggest name on this list is Bobby Wagner. I think he finally falls off that Seattle roster, and he's made a lot of money. And I think he could take a cheap contract with a good team and really make an impact immediately. Frank Clark's expected, but that's another player who can jump on a roster and make an impact immediately. Outside of that, I think most of these names. There's a bunch of quarterbacks and wide receivers, as you might expect. But I think defensively speaking, Zadarius Smith, Frank Clark, and Bobby Wagner could really be impact players from a bubble standpoint.
Man. Oh, you blowing my mind. Any surprises that you think, like, what's going to happen with Jimmy Garoppolo? Will he stay or is he gone? That was a big sign there.
Yeah, I'm not ready for Trey Lance yet, and I get the approach that they're not either. But I do think you have to move on. There's trade value there. There's teams like Pittsburgh that are sitting there waiting for a player like that who's got a reasonable amount of compensation for 1 year, but not too much. I just think they're going to get too good of a trade offer not to do it, even though they're probably wavering right now at that position. But Garoppolo probably does move. I can't imagine it's Tampa Bay anymore. That was the easy connection a couple of weeks ago, but that roster is really falling apart in front of our eyes here.
All right, lastly, before we let you go, Devonte Adams, what's the range if they sign him per year that he's going to get?
Ooh.
I know he's saying 30. I would never do that. But I think they have offered him 25, and that's exactly where we have him mathematically speaking. So I think it's a 5 for 125 type situation with 2.5 years fully guaranteed. So it's going to be big. It's going to be really big. But I'm not sure it gets done. A lot has to happen over the next couple of weeks here.
There you have it, blowing our minds there with he wants $30 million at wide receiver.
Mike, hey, man.
What?
Fantastic stuff. You mentioned the article on roster bubble candidates. I read that earlier. There's tons of great content right now at Spotrac on Twitter, Spotrac.com. Thank you, sir. Always good catching up with you.
Appreciate it, Mike.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Seriously, tons of great content always. I love Spotrac. Love talking to Mike. When we come back, if you're a Titans fan, do you have your passport updated? You may need it. I'll tell you why. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone.
Hold it.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Lucas, if you got an active passport because you're a world traveler, you're a man of the world.
That's how you grew up, right? Traveling the world.
I got 3 of them.
You got 3. Oh, wow.
You got 3 passports?
Yeah, we had to because we visit our family in Brazil or Italy every year. So we didn't want to have to go through, the long line of customs and everything that goes with going to another country. So they just made me a citizen in all 3 countries.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
See,
that is pretty
you're
cool.
just saying this. I had no idea. So could you fly to Brazil and vote in an election?
Yes. Yes, it's going to make my travel to Brazil.
How have
some
you
way.
been hold this back from us, man?
I'm sorry. This is one of those things that was very normal for me in my
I
childhood.
know. You see, you don't understand how different that is for
It was just
everybody
going
else.
to
That's
see
pretty
grandma.
cool.
You know what I mean?
Just see it. Yeah.
It was like going down the street to see grandma, except we got on a plane and flew 8 hours.
Yeah, 8 hours, man. I've been there a handful of times there. Yeah, what happens in Brazil stays in Brazil.
My grandmother lived at the
Not
end of a
Vegas.
gravel road in Harrisburg, Arkansas, near a dirt racetrack.
Same concept, just a little,
Right.
a few more miles.
Oh, man. Dang.
You can vote in Italy, too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're a valuable member of...
I don't have any opinions, though, so don't ask me.
Oh, no, you have a whole bunch of opinions.
Not really in tune on what's going on politically.
Oh, I'm sure you know everything over there.
All right, you're a big soccer fan. Would you rather, for music, I'm a big Wembley guy because that's where all my musical heroes played was Wembley. That was like the making it
Wembley
if you
Stadium.
played Wembley Stadium. The NFL announced the 5 home teams today for their international series games. So the Buccaneers are going to play in Germany. The Cardinals are going to play in Mexico. And then there's 3 games in London, 2 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the Packers and the Saints, and then the Jags have a game at Wembley. So they haven't said who they're going to play. Well, the Titans play road games against the Packers and against the Jaguars this year. So the Titans could technically play in England. I saw Buck Rising tweet since they last played in 2018, I guess whatever the turnover of years, they're eligible to play again. So would you rather play the Packers in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or would you rather play the Jags at Wembley?
Anything not the Jags.
You want to fly around the world to play a conference
As
game?
far as venue,
exactly. No.
Wembley supersedes, and Tottenham Hotspur has a new stadium, and I'm sure it's very nice. But Wembley is, like you said, that
It's
is one of
special.
the iconic venues in the world. I don't want to play the Jags.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Give me the Packers. Give me the better game.
Yeah, better team. Yeah, I know you'll get another shot at the stadium.
go to London, watch the Titans play the Packers at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and then go watch a soccer game at Wembley. And then you can check all the boxes.
Good idea.
Our travel agent, Lucas Panzica, coming up with...
But we got to make sure that's going to happen, right? It's not a done deal for the Titans.
No, it's
We're
not.
speculating.
It's not a done deal. We're just speculating. Every team who has a road game against any of these teams would have to wonder if they might be the team that's chosen. The way that we've been rocking over here back at Nissan Stadium, I think Titans fans are starting to get nervous because when you play one of these games, if you're the home team, that means that's one less game at your stadium. But with the NFL, we talked about this. When you have the uneven number of games, it's like, no, you can still play 8 at home. You can play 8 on the road. And number 9 can be in Munich or Mexico or wherever we decide. So you're still getting your regular number of games. But guess what? You're going to play one somewhere else. We're going to tell you where.
So you actually don't lose out on your home games.
But there'll be some years, though, where you don't have to go. Like last year, you just play extra game. You don't have to go to Munich or somewhere to do it. Where of these places, because you're, again, Lucas, world traveler, Blaine, I know you've done a lot of travel. Would you rather play in Germany, Mexico, or one of the London games?
I say Germany. I think that would be a really cool environment. I think that would be really cool in Munich.
He probably knows better than me, but I've never been to Germany, so I
played a game in Mexico, yeah,
and so which was really cool. I would since the Titans have already been to London, I may be with Lucas just to change it up, Germany. Then that way I could say I've been to Germany.
Well, there you go. My dad was stationed there. I know he loved being there when he was there.
I think the Germans would have a great time at an NFL game in Munich.
I think they'd have a great time doing anything. You could have the Scorpions play the halftime show, my favorite German band. This is only going to get bigger. I think more and more of this international thing is going to happen, so just get used to it. It's going to be a thing.
That's how they're going to get their revenue up, man. They're going to continue to grow. How many teams? I remember there was a big rumor that the Jag was going to actually move there. And so So I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't think that's happening because they're building that whole deal around the stadium.
But it sure seemed like it was going to happen a couple years ago.
It did.
We had a show one day where we spent the whole day trying to pick what their mascot would be.
When we on 3HL?
Yes. We spent a whole day talking about
London.
what should their mascot be when they moved to London. We were for sure it was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't go that far.
I thought they should be the London Guard, and they would have just a solid black helmet like the dudes with the tall helmets, the guards, and red jerseys like the red jackets, the London Guard. And he would even have a name like that doesn't end with S like soccer teams have.
I think everyone should check
London Guard.
whatever they change.
Very international by me.
And the colors and which jerseys they should wear. I think that's right. You love this. You should see the excitement in your face when you get the London Guards. They should be.
That's what they should be. I designed the uniform on a napkin.
Yeah. It's just like Lucas telling us that you knuckleheads, you should play in Germany.
I'm ready to go. Let's go. Wherever they go, we're going this year. We got messed around last time. We didn't go. We're going this time. So just sign us up. Sign us up to get out of here. Coach Matt coming up tomorrow, but 3HL is coming up next here on 104.5 The Zone.
In the meantime, in between this beautiful weather here in Nashville,
We'll see you tomorrow, and
peace.